Warm welcome to the fourth roundtable discussion session, season 2021. I am Dr. Aline Nassar. Are you growing your business or planning to? Isn't that everybody's goal? It is an actuality that business growth is steered by a robust process of acquiring new customers. In times of business fairy tales in the media and motivational videos, it is vital to find out and evaluate what works in an era full of surprises and uncertainties. Today, in a compact session full of hands-on tactics with separate B2B and B2C considerations, our guest and keynote speaker will address all this. Customer Acquisitions 2021 Tactics for B2B and B2C is the title of the session by Ayman Itani, CEO of Think Media Labs. Ayman is a business growth specialist, an advisor, and a public speaker, dedicated to helping founders, investors, government entities, and established businesses meet their growth objectives by leveraging his experience building his own business and that of others. We are all eager to hear Ayman Itani. I invite participants to kindly use the raise hand option for questions, comments, and discussion points. Without further ado, and joined by you all, I welcome Mr. Ayman Itani. Welcome, Ayman. The stage is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Aline, for your kind words and for inviting me to be with your organization and your guests. I prepared a lot of things to discuss on the B2B side and the B2C side. And Dr. Aline, we can do it two ways because we're a close group here. We can either, I can open up and understand from each what they're doing and what their background is, and I can walk them through very specific things, or the other way would be I can go through the content and then open up towards the end for them to have input. So what would you prefer, Dr. Aline? You know the dynamics of the group.
We've done it historically both ways. If you're inclined to either way, please go ahead and let us know. Otherwise, maybe we can ask the participants.
Because, for example, Ian mentioned that you mentioned that Ian is an author, he has a microphone and so on. So my understanding is he has books and he's looking at the podcast. So he's looking at, there's a content direction there to think about, there's a distribution content to think about, and so on. So I can customize things for him, and I'll talk with others. So I understand Lucille and Hamad and Sadiq and John and what they're doing, what their businesses are. This way I can zoom into very specific things. So that could be one way.
That's awesome. That's awesome. If you would like to call a participant out, we can unmute them, have a discussion with them. And yeah, we'll do it this way.
Okay, so then let's go ahead and get started then. Thank you, Dr. Aline. Ian, if it's okay if we can start with you, because we're already in the intro, we were talking a little more about this. So Dr. Aline mentioned that you have published 2 books on specifically from a diabetes perspective. Should I assume it's more from a patient perspective, how to better survive it, or if a loved one, how to deal with this, or is it on the medical diabetes side?
It's definitely, I don't like the term user actually there. Sound like a druggie. I do take drugs, but it's called insulin. No, it's basically the book series title is I Have Diabetes, Diabetes Does Not Have Me. And what it basically represents is my life as a diabetic. I've been a diabetic for over 62, in fact, coming up to 63 years now. And I'm still totally clear of any complications. And having lived as anything but a saint, I feel the need to go out and help others. I'm running this as literally a not-for-profit operation. All the profits from the proceeds of my works are being donated to further diabetes research. Because I think I mentioned it before, there's 500 million plus diabetics out there in the world today. And too many of them are worried, fearful, frightened, scared. about
What would you like
diabetes.
ideally to what would you like ideally to happen? So would you like to have a bigger audience who would view
Yes.
content of yours, or would you want a bigger, you know, is it the book sale, or is it the audience that views you and so on? So what's your objective mostly from
My
being here today?
objective is the book sales, purely because my raison d'etre there is to provide funding for research and other programs. I mean, there's a phenomenal research program at the moment going on in Canada, which is at the University of Alberta, where they're doing stem cell research for stem cells that can actually act as the beta cells that have been destroyed or are less usable by diabetics in their particular position or whatever type they may be.
And what content online are you publishing today? Do you have a newsletter? Do you have videos that you do? You said you're potentially heading towards a podcast. So what are you doing today from a content perspective?
So far, I mean, what I've done is I've written the books, I've published them as an indie publisher because I haven't got any publishing company because I can't afford the costs. I mean, at the end of the day, as I say, it's a not-for-profit operation. So I don't want to take away from the profits to, well, when I get profits, that is, to organise publishing. So I've gone through Amazon. They're available in e-formats and paperback. And I'm just going through the process of doing audiobooks.
Okay, thank you. John, can you tell a little bit more about what you're doing in Yerevan? I hear always great things about Yerevan, about about the talent pool that's there, about how it's ripe for business, how it's a big city yet not a big city. So can you tell me a little bit more about your interest there and your activity there?
Well, my activity now is I'm doing consultancy for One Village. I'm head of education in China. But I'm stuck in Yerevan because of coronavirus, so I cannot go there. But I'm doing from home remotely. I'm working for them, and I'm doing my best to prepare the database and prepare the marketing plan. Because for now the students don't have extracurricular activities, so they're not coming to, let's say, outside the schools. One Village is a big place where students can come and spend 1 week, 2 weeks, in which we can help them reach and exceed their learning outcomes. So for now, we are preparing, waiting for the COVID to be over, so we can have a lot of schools are interested to come and join us, but we're waiting for the COVID to be over so that schools and students can come and have their extracurricular activities, because One Village is, as you know, is a satellite learning exploration area where, for example, IB students, they can come and do their CAS hours. For example, other type of students, they can come and do their activities, the community service. They can have additional courses there that will reinforce their learning outcomes.
And what type of consulting do you consult to educational institutions?
Education only, yes. So schools, and yes. I've been doing training for different, for the last 33 years. I've trained more than 5,000, 6,000 teachers worldwide.
And now your focus is on the IB programs in China.
No, my focus is with One Village. It's a village where it's an extracurricular activity. The students then can come and join, and they can spend there 5 days, 7 days, and finalize their learning outcomes. In IB, for example, mainly they have the creativity action service hours. They can do their creativity action service hours there and finalize them. Or other students from different programs, they can exceed their learning outcomes, because we have in the village more than 20 education departments, a big place for more than 24 classrooms and more than 25 different clubs, in which they can reinforce and nurture their 21st century learner profile.
Okay, that's clear. Hamad, you mentioned, so Ali mentioned that you're in Al Ain. I'm based in Dubai, in Media City. So can you tell me a bit more about what you're doing and what your interests are?
Yes, sure. I know
everybody's here is mostly because they trust Aline's judgment and her content and putting everything together. So, nice. But I'm sure that there are other reasons as well for what you want to know more about today.
All right. My name is Mohammed Sishan. I'm actually based in Al Ain. I'm in a hotel business. I'm a co-founder for a chain of hotels called Ayla Hotels, which is based in Al Ain. We have 3 hotels, and we are developing more hotels in the neighborhood. We have one coming up very soon in Ibri in Oman, and we have a big project in Djibouti in Africa. And beside the company that I work for, we are very much into developing malls and livestock market. That's what we do. For example, we are in Alain, the owner of the camel market here, and we are owner of a lot of project in Alain. But I'm taking care of the hospitality sector as a director or group general manager for Aira Hotels, with all the development around the world. So this is what I'm doing now.
And your interest in the session today is more of attracting partners to the hotel chain, or is it more the people and families to spend time in the hotels? What are you hoping to find from our session today?
Well, definitely, we're always seeking new customers because we are very much Alain is very much neighboring Oman. Just the border is not far. You're talking about 20 kilometers, and you're already in Oman from here, or at least where I'm now located. Definitely, we're looking for growing our market from the family business, and we're hoping that things will open very soon from the borders, especially again Oman and hopefully Saudi Arabia, because when you look at the family business, you need a big family to occupy your hotels. I have 460 rooms, number of rooms in Alain, which is quite big, into 3 hotels, 2 4-star and 1 5-star. So that's the reason. Maybe we can really, and I'm sure we can learn something out of you, Mr. Ayman.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Who else would like to, give feedback on what they're doing and what they're hoping to get together? Sadiq, please. Thank you.
Sadiq.
Good afternoon to all of you, and good evening for people in Australia. It's my pleasure to be my third webinar with Dr. Ellen, and thanks a lot for her cooperation with us. I'm coming from quality background. I'm in clinical quality and Ministry of Health and Prevention, UAE. And the main job of us, of course, is to get all our facilities accredited by, we have 3 bodies: Canadian accreditation, Australian accreditation, and Joint Commission International, GCI. Well, I'm looking for, from the point of quality point of view, which is about focusing on 2 kinds of clients, internal and external, even if we are in the, what we can say, medical field. Quality is not only for medical or clinical or anything. Quality should be like umbrella, should cover all the business everywhere. So this is why I am seeking with this webinar to get more ideas about, especially we are keen to get the feedback and evaluation, as also I'm doing a training for my client, for our clients in internal and external, to get their feedbacks about our trainings, about the accreditation survey done by the surveyors, or the accreditation journey as whole. And as you know, that quality is a journey. There is no bus stop or a station to stop there.
What are you hoping we cover today? Because my understanding, you're in the B2B medical field. So are you looking to see how you can get in touch with new partners in the health ecosystem, or maybe deepening your existing relationship with the ones that you have? So what are you hoping to find together?
Well, yes, I quite agree with you with this point, because now in Ministry of Health, we are going to split into 2 entities. And now we are going to have what we can say establishment, Emirates establishment for medical services, and the ministry will be as entity by itself. So of course we are going to need to invite some people for this business. You see, from the quality, as we are, linked directly with via the organizational chart to the minister himself.
Okay, I understand. Thank you, Sada.
Ayman, we have Jason Taj, and Jason Taj is the Business Development Manager of Austrade in Dubai, and she would like to also have an input, if you don't mind.
Of course, and also Lucille has raised hand as well.
Oh, okay. Lucille, yeah, you have. Okay, right after Taj, thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jasin Taj, and as Dr. Aline mentioned, I'm the Business Development Manager for Austrade and Dubai and responsible for the healthcare sector. So my job role involves working with healthcare sector clients and companies from Australia who are interested to do business in the UAE. So I deal with multiple clients and companies of different sizes. It could be a startup or a SME. So I'm interested to understand more about the channels that I could reach out to different customers in the UAE and how I can open up those channels for them. Because I seek opportunities on behalf of these Australian companies and keep them posted on these, and then connect them with sorry connect them with relevant customers here.
What type of healthcare, Jason, please? So is it the services? Is it on the products perspective? Is it on consulting and advisory?
I would say it encompasses all segments of healthcare, including services, products, digital health. Our products, our services are mostly client-centric. So we go to the markets that our clients are interested in. So it could be any one of those that you mentioned.
Okay. And your role is on the business development side, correct? Your role is to establish these partnerships.
Yes. So my role primarily is on the leads generation, and I engage the clients and customer more on a facilitator note.
What are you doing on LinkedIn today in that regard?
I do make active posts on LinkedIn on the opportunities that I source.
Okay. Are you connecting with others and inviting them to look at your portfolio of things and so on, or not yet?
Yeah, I'm using the LinkedIn network very actively, connecting with stakeholders on both ends.
All right.
And also connecting with the industry association bodies and chambers of commerce.
Okay. All right. Great. Okay, Jason. Thank you. Hi, Lucille. We'll give you a minute until,
Lucille is trying to move.
The annoying husbands are always in the background. They're messing things up for you, right?
She's trying to move to another room because of the background she has in the office.
Yes.
So no, I am going to stay on the. That's where I'm going to be. Okay, so I work. Do you hear me?
Yes, we can hear Lucille. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yes, you switched to
Is
the
it
Wi-Fi.
okay now?
Yes, it's good now.
So I work for a medical center in Abu Dhabi called Harley Street, and I am taking care of the marketing department. We are quite a small structure, so I do have a part of business development as well, which it's like contacting companies or looking for more leads. So I have a very active team on the online, and we have Instagram and social media and LinkedIn and Facebook, a website. So I have people working quite very well on this part. But obviously, what we want to increase is working with big companies and finding always new customers. It's like quality care; it just never ends. So.
Lucille, help me understand a little bit more. What do you go after, consumers directly or B2B? Both. And what are the products? What's the services that you provide?
So it's just to present our services as a medical center. So we have everything from pediatrics, ophthalmology, plastic surgery. We have a sleep clinic. We have a neurology institute. We are about to open a lipid clinic. So we have we cover a lot in a very familial structure, I would say. We're not a big hospital such as Cleveland Clinic or Bourgil, we are a more intimate structure. So basically, we want to increase awareness, within the and like obviously the UAE, Alain, Western region. So, so yes, so either I can go after the consumers, or I'm trying to reach out to companies such as, let's say, Emirates Steels, and make sure, you know, like that they send us people, or that we can create package for them.
Okay, so the B2B part is you have large corporations that you want them to send their employees as patients to you, potentially, correct?
Yeah.
And you
create a special relationship with them where they send us.
Sorry? Your role, Lucille, is on the marketing side or on the business development side? You do?
I'm on both.
Both. Okay. But they're completely different, and I'll be covering some of that together.
I completely agree. But that's the problem of a small structure, as I said. Is like
okay. All right. Okay.
So any be great.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Lucille. Who else? We have a lot on the medical side, Dr. Aline, today.
Yes, normally this is the case. If anybody please would like to raise hand, share their background and what they're looking for from this session, kindly do that. Otherwise, maybe you can just go ahead, Ayman.
Sure.
With the information you already have.
Of course. Okay, thank you for sharing with me what you're doing and what you're hoping to find. This way I want to push a few things specifically that make a little bit more sense, because what I'm looking at here, we have a series of B2B medical. We have looking at 3 B2B medical, 1 B2B in education, 1 B2C in hospitality. And Ian, are you on the B2B or B2C side? It wasn't clear for me in diabetes. Are you going after patients directly, or are you hoping to tie more with the medical institutions who
I'd like to align with both, to be honest with you.
I know I want to lose weight, I want to go to the workout more and so on, but I can't do all of them and I won't. So what's if you were to choose one? Because I had the same question to Lucille. If you were to choose one, what would you choose?
I would go for the diabetics. I mean, there's 500 million plus out there in the world, and I only seem to have managed to get hold of anything, around about 100 or so.
Okay. Okay. All right. The reason I focus on B2B and B2C, because they're very different from what you want to do, especially when it comes to the digital. And there are a lot of misunderstandings on what it is. And I see a lot of money wasted where people are in B2B, like B2B medical, and they use B2C tactics on Instagram and Google and TikTok and others, and they don't get anywhere, obviously, because they're using different tactics for this. So there are key specific things that I want to make sure that we cover together today. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And at any point, if you want to ask questions, just feel free to either interrupt or raise hand. Okay, just make sure that you guys are able to see my screen. We're good. Yes. All right, thank you. All right. So, and also, I'll be sharing my contact information in case you have questions that I did not answer. You can continue to reach out to me by email or Instagram or WhatsApp, whatever works better for you. All right, so a key concept, whether you're B2B or B2C, is, and this is often I see there's a mix of the two, is brand awareness versus direct response. Brand awareness is what our brand stands for, what we care about, and so on. So in your case, Ian, for example, brand would be I've lived for more than 60 years with diabetes, and I know it and I get it, and I figured out the tight wire that I've walked through, and I'm able to share my experience with you. That's the brand awareness part. The direct response is when there's an ask. The ask is buy my book, come to my webinar, attend this thing, download this, subscribe, and so on. So what I see a lot of people do is they try to mix the two, and that doesn't work. That doesn't work, and it also helps you lose a lot of credibility, a lot of customers, and so on. So even when it comes to so for both B2B and B2C, this applies. So brand awareness and direct response. So always keep in mind that any piece of content you're making, whether it's a post on Instagram or LinkedIn, or anything that you're sharing, or an email newsletter that goes out, or anything that you want to communicate, be clear about your intention. So either I'm awareness, I'm letting you know about me and what I do, or value, or so on, or direct response, as in join, subscribe, download, attend, buy from me, ask me for a proposal, things like this. So that's an important separation for the two. And the reason I look at B2B versus B2C, I'm gonna jump to the B2B part, and then I'm gonna go back to the B2C part, because a lot of in the audience are on the B2B side. For the B2B folks, and something I want to focus on a little bit further is why it's important for me to talk about this is, even if it's COVID, even after COVID in 2021, and the world is digital, and everybody has a mobile device, and internet connectivity is there, B2B sales continues to be tried and true old school sales, not digital communication. Meaning, who do we know? Who do I know? Either I know directly to reach out to them, or I can say, look, Dr. Alian, I want to do this in Australia, or do this in the UAE. Who can you connect me with, or so on. So a lot of people say, Ayman, the world, but no, Ayman, the world is digital and COVID and internet and so on. I want to do it this way. B2B, if you're in B2B, it has to be tried and true old school sales. The digital part you use to grease the discussion. This is why I was asking you about the content that you're doing and so on, to grease the discussion in this. And I'll talk more about what that means. So the important part is whether it's you or you have a sales team, all right? So I'm assuming, if you have you and maybe somebody to help you on this. The industry content in written or video form, it could be audio as well, to deepen the dialogue with the prospects. Meaning, for example, let me look at the list here of B2B medical. All right. So Jason, for example, you're looking at, you want to do work, and you want your healthcare clients to do work in the UAE. So one area there would be, I know you have the first struggle you have is getting their attention, whether it's via LinkedIn or introduction or so on. So that's the first struggle. And then after that is, once you have their attention, you've made that connection and so on, what is it that you're doing or showing them and so on. That part there that I would work on the most. For example, what type of content? Could be videos, could be articles, it could be a linking, connecting to a speaker that you can talk to. That type of content and value aspect there, that I think would be your two steps. The first step would be to make that connection, and the second is to actually show them, to give them something. Because many of the people who reach out on LinkedIn and so on, as soon as you accept them, they copy and paste this long list of things of, we do software development for apps and iOS and Android. And so I was like, did you even check my profile? I'm not doing any of this. So we all have a lot of this, and this is what I'm hoping when I'm focusing on. I go back to the initial aspect here of brand awareness versus direct response, right? So even if you take a look at the session today. Today, the session, that it's very important for Dr. Aline and the organizers, the session is pure value, right? So the organizers, like me, like you, like anyone else, we all have revenue streams from somewhere, right? We need some form of revenue from one way or another. We have services, advisory, consulting, products, whatever it is. This session today is fully about value. So what Dr. Aline and organizers are doing today is they're providing brand awareness about them. So they're giving some form of valuable content via their platform and getting in speakers and so on to provide value for you as an audience. Today, some of you are in the evening, some of you are during the day. You're giving that time here for us today, and we're hoping that this provides you with that value. Hence, this is the brand awareness part. She's not saying, look, I do consulting in this, I can introduce, I can do this, she's not doing any of this here today. So this is why it's important from a B2B perspective. When you're doing brand awareness, it's fully brand awareness all the way through. We're not mixing. We're doing direct response. Direct response, we will sell. There's no shame. Very clearly, I do this, I do that, I sell this, I sell that. You consult me for this, consult me for that. There's no shame in this. So we're looking at not mixing the two. So this is the part there. When we're looking at the content should be either on the brand awareness piece. So what we're doing today is content. It might not be in written form, but what we're doing today is content. So very simply, very clearly. All right, and these are examples of content. So ideally, you have an event like this, okay? An event could have 3 people attend, right? You don't need to have like an audience of 300, 400 people and so on. 3, 4 people to event. When you have that event, you record it. You've noticed this is being recorded. Even I've asked for a copy of this. I'm going to repurpose this. I'm going to cut it off into certain bits and reuse it. So once you have that 30 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 1 hour of footage, you can do a bunch of things from it. So I'm going to look at examples. So Sada, you've mentioned you have a combination of the healthcare and on the public sector side as well. There's a wealth of content there. You just mentioned something that we're splitting into this and that. There's a huge logic. You can do 6 months to educate others, saying, look, when you're in a situation like ours, you have to split, because if you don't split, this is the advantages, disadvantages. If you split and so on, so you can help advise others on many different things related to this. They can talk about, you have certifications. Compliance is an endless pool of content and things like this, and a lot of people don't do it right and so on. So a lot of that you can help position yourself personally and your organization with the content around this. It could be a recording like this. It could be an article that you write on LinkedIn or a website. It could be one-page summary. So for example, one-page summary could be simple, you know, I don't know much about certifications. So that one page would be, look, Ayman, before you start certifications, be clear about, you have 6 choices for certification, make sure that you're applying for the right one. 2, you have to allocate at least 6 weeks or 8 weeks or 12 weeks, because this is not you don't apply online and it's done. You have to prepare, you have to comply, you have to share content and so on. 3rd, you need to have members of your team who are involved in this and that. So a small checklist, 1 page that you send out, that's content. So that obviously isn't for everybody, but it's for a certain subset of your audience. So that's an example on the B2B side from a medical perspective on this. So this is the type of content examples that I'm trying to give, where I'm not asking you to write content from scratch, because that's a lot. Even me, I try to keep more content. But what I do is whenever there are opportunities to create content, I do. So for example, today, I look at this as an opportunity to create content. This is being recorded, and I'll spend some time later with my team to help look at, okay, what part of this 1 hour can we cut off and do? What of it can we do as an article about? What can we look at doing here? So can I post this on social? So that type of repurposing of it here. So here I have monthly, but I'm okay doing 3 months. So if you're just getting started today and you're a company of 1, I'm okay once every 3 months doing 1 recording with a couple of articles here and there, and maybe a video or 2 over a 3-month period, so over 90 days. That is the type of thing that I'm recommending that you look at. You don't have to be consistent about having weekly and so on. It's a lot, you know, it's a lot of what you want to do, but this aspect here, and here, a lot of this has to do with what your audience can benefit from, what they can understand, what they can learn from you on this, and then the sales will come from this. Because at the end, when you share all this content and so on, they won't go into that details. At the end, they're like, Sadiq, he's that guy for compliance. That's how they summarize you. I've come in, it's like, oh, I was that guy for. It's like, they summarize me in 1 word from whatever they understood from what I share and do and so on. So, and that's a win. Dr. Aline, you had feedback for us on this.
I wanted to admire the idea of repurposing. I think it's such a beautiful and effective advice. We do a lot of content, a lot of videos, a lot of whatever marketing material we use, promotional material, but we normally purpose it for one thing. It's done, it's archived. What you've just given is a gem of advice, which is, you have that, repurpose it. It's there, just tweak it, use parts of it for different goals, or to promote something that is different than the first thing you promoted. So yeah, I just wanted to acknowledge and highlight that this piece of advice, this tactic I think is key. And yeah, I'm in love with it, because we don't need to do the work twice or more.
Thank you, Dr. Aline. The reason I focus on this is we're all busy, right? We have a bunch of things to do. You just stepped out of a bunch of things, and as soon as you leave, you're going to check your email. And a lot of us are, a lot of folks without the video. I know I'm on calls without video. I'm working on a couple of other things. So we're always doing many different things. We're busy, right? So this repurposing part is, let's have a hook, a content piece that we can do regularly. It's a meeting that we record, a simple meeting that we record, or a talk or something like this. And so I've given many talks like this. I did an event, nobody showed up. 1 or 2 people showed up. I'm completely fine. One of my team was like, Ayman, there's nobody, should we cancel? I was like, no, I'm going to record this and purpose the way all the way through. Khalas. And for me, the most difficult part for me personally is to give the time to sit and do this. Somebody attends, excellent. They don't, just, the difficult part for me is done, allocating the time to deliver and do this. So that part that I'm really doing, and a lot of you, when you are here, the topic. So Ian, you've written the books, you've written books about it. Jason, you are helping both businesses navigate. What are businesses in the UAE? What are they looking for from medical providers outside the country? And what are healthcare providers in Australia looking to expand into a country like the UAE and so on? So you're in the middle on this. So that means you have the content and the knowledge and the misconception about each of how simple things are, and you raise awareness saying, look, that's not how you do it, this is how you do it. And so that's the type of content that I'm looking at focusing on here with that. And there could be any different formats. I'm listing them here. There are even many more, and you shouldn't do all of them. Choose one or two that works well. So I'd recommend have something that's easy for you. If video is easy for you, it's great. If you don't like how your hair looks, or you don't like yourself on video, write. If you don't like writing, record the audio. So whatever, take it from your good side. Whatever works for you. So we're all trying to find your area of comfort here. So Twitter is short. That's short amount of time in text. Or no, you like to write content a lot. Twitter doesn't work for you. Great, go with the LinkedIn. You can write a nice long post about this. So whatever is comfortable for you, that would be the area that I would look at. And there are a bunch of platforms that you can use, Zoom and others, and a bunch of different things, right? So I wouldn't worry about that. One aspect I'll just point out on a B2B perspective, let's work on our profiles. Just always touch them up a little bit. We have both our personal profiles and our professional profiles. So those are two for us to look at. So I'll tackle the professional profile. Okay, a lot of people I see, they always forget this part here. All right, this image costs you nothing to design, right? So you can have a friend design, or it costs you like less than $10 to design this. This is just that guy or that girl. They want to introduce you to that guy or that girl that understands that. That's what they introduce you on. So that understanding of it. And that guy or girl, look at a social dinner, not like a professional environment like we're in now. When you're over the weekend with somebody and then you're in a social setting and they're introducing you, oh, Dr. Aline, she does, you see, they pause, they struggle, and then they throw in one or two words that summarizes you. That understanding of you is what you somehow write a little bit more polished, here on this. So that, I think this plays an important role here. Another part that plays an important role, and I see a lot of people they don't use this well, is this. So this is the what that person does and so on. So don't put your company name or anything here. It's just this appears in the initial part of the search, and then in the past jobs that you have a few lines about what you personally did, not about the entity. Not our company does this or they did that or so on. It's about what you personally did with them. So those are very small things, but they really make a big deal for when people check you out on LinkedIn. And we all check us out on LinkedIn. So we check each other out on LinkedIn. All of us. We do this by default before the call, after anything. They look you up the same way. That's the electronic version of when they see you, they look at your watch, they look at your car, they look at your clothes and your shoes and your belt. This is the digital equivalent of this, right? So this is why I'm just asking you to wear what's comfortable for you. Just put it here. Just know that these tools are there for you to do so. And there's the equivalent of it when it comes to a company, right? So a picture, a header field, and things like this, and so on, and description, location, a couple of things. So those are a couple of small things there. One thing that I remind myself to do a lot, and I'd like to remind you as well, is to get testimonials from people we deal with, videos, texts, and so on. I forget this all the time. So I tried. So for example, Karim is a former customer. All right, they're a unicorn now. They're the darling of the Middle East after being acquired by Uber and so on. When I was working with Karim, when I used to they asked me who are your customers, I tell them Karim. They say Karim, but from what company? I was like, no, Karim is the company. So, and then with time, they understood that Karim was, and it grew and so on. So I don't have a video or text testimony from the founder, although we worked closely together for a while, right? So things like this that are important for you to look at and remember and do and so on. So those are things, and it's okay. It's okay to ask for testimonial. Worst case, they'll ignore your email. Okay, yeah, okay. Next, move on. So versus, you know, not asking, right? So this is a little more on the advanced side. I've been experimenting with this, so I cannot recommend it fully for now because I'm still experimenting with this on my side, right? Something called the personal CRM. I've been wanting to do a better job keeping in touch with people that I've known and liked and so on. I haven't been doing a great job with this. I've been trying on Excel. I haven't been doing a lot of that and so on. So there's something there to be done. I'm still working on cracking this, but when I do, I'll share more about with you. But all of us in our network, we're sitting on 7 to 8 people who can really open up doors for us. But we forget about them, they forget about us. What I'm suggesting is a nudge every now and then. One thing that I find has been working for me as a business professional, talking to other business professionals, is WhatsApp voice notes. Some people love it, some people hate it. What I like with WhatsApp voice notes is, let's say I send it now, or somebody sends me a voice note now, it doesn't interrupt me. It's on my phone. When I'm done with this, it could be 7, 8. You'll see, if you WhatsApp me, you'll see a lot of my responses come back to you at 9, 10, 11 p.m. once, you know, my day is clear. But still, that means you did it on your time and I respond on my time. We had that touch point. It's better than zero. It's better than nothing than versus going 2 years without reaching out, reaching out on this. So that's the B2B part. I wanted to see if there was any feedback or questions on this before I go to the B2C. I'd like to answer more questions on B2B part because I don't see a lot of B2C in the audience. So that's why. What questions can I answer on the B2B bit?
Until everybody is ready, I have Ahmed Salim. Ahmed's still with us. He sent a chat note.
I saw that he's on B2B retail tech.
I just would like to add that I'm here for B2B, retail tech industry, working on a new startup. So maybe, Ahmed, if you don't mind to take that discussion forward with Ayman.
Come on in, Ahmed.
Yes, I just... there he is.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Aline. Ayman, nice to speak to you finally. I had you on my LinkedIn account for a while. I didn't get a chance to speak to you. So that was,
are you getting the notifications when my show is going live, or you're not getting those? Is LinkedIn notifying you of that or not?
No, actually, I just got your post on the news feed, so that's how I knew about this webinar.
Okay. Thank you, Ahmed.
Okay, you're welcome. Nice to meet you, everyone. It was great actually hearing about everyone. Business and what they're working on. I'm a bit new to the business world, like starting my own business. I've been trying for a while. Basically, I came from a technical background. I am a software engineer with startup experience, working as a startup CTO for a few startups here in Dubai. Currently, I'm working for Union Properties just as application manager, so I'm on the client side. But at the same time, I'm building something for my own future. Started in December last year. Started working on application called NoQ. NoQ is a scan and go application for retail and large supermarket chains, but it is not specifically for one shop. It is to be used overall shops. So basically, it is a universal scan and go. So that self-checkout application, you use it everywhere you go, when you buy clothes, when you buy grocery, when you buy whatever. So mainly, getting end users or customers who are going to use the app is not as difficult as getting the business to partner with. So my main pain, like since maybe I've been trying for 3 months now, is to get in touch with those businesses. So I try to contact, for example, Aswa, started to contact Union or Union Coop, yes, Carrefour, and other type of supermarket chains here in UAE. I've tried every single solution they had. I tried to make comments on their surveys. When I tried their system, they send us a survey. Then I tried to put my contact details as an answer on their survey. I got some feedback from them on that, but the challenge is how to get the first the first date with those businesses. So it is maybe on other type of business. I tried before small business for like B2C, which is on selling proteins and protein bars. It was much easier to get in touch with people because once you post something
The partnership you're looking for, Ahmad, is you want to talk to retailers to potentially be a supplier for products for distribution with them, correct?
Not a product, but basically just to adopt the technology. So I'm selling the technology, so I have the solution. The only thing I need is to partner with those stores to get their system integrated with my system, so I can let users buy through my application. So basically, I'm just providing another sale, like a POS.
So you're asking how best to get to them, correct?
Exactly.
Ahmed, it's not the way that you're commenting on things and doing that. It won't work. I opened up the talk because you're in B2B. B2B sales, Ahmed, it's all about either you know them or somebody introduced you to them, right?
Okay.
So in business, I have a lot of echoes of relationships, right? It's either you meet your +1 via your network, as in back in college, at work, or so on. You meet them in a circle, in a social circle, at a dinner, or so on. Or we ask our mom, saying, "Look, mom, I'm ready to get married. Introduce me to somebody." Yeah, hey. Yeah, that's it. Either this or that. So this is equivalent here, Ahmed. So either you know them via your network, via people who used to work for you, work with you in a certain company, they're there, and so on. Or you talk to somebody who says, "Look, I can introduce you to." So on and so forth. So you'd ask simply, who do you know in this company? Who do you know in that? So ask your friends, ask on LinkedIn, check to see who you're connected with in common, and ask for the introduction. From the 10, 20 introductions, one of them will happen. And you'll get a lot of no's, Ahmed, because not every girl I spoke with wanted to talk to me, very simply. Right? Mm-hmm. But you'll find eventually that will happen. But commenting on their social and doing things like this, you're talking to their community manager, to their outsourced marketing agency, to somebody who's looking for things, just comments to reply on, which is, do you have this product, or I have this problem? So that's their job. So they can't help you, and so on, Ahmed. So I would look at that. So one, who can introduce me, and two, inshallah, if you have that introduction, the meeting should be well prepared. You should show them, since it's been so difficult for you to meet there, I'd have a very customized presentation when I see with them, with their colors, their logos, they see what they look at, and so on. For it to look, since this door is not opening easily for you, and somebody introduced you one way or another, very customized for you to be very comfortable doing, comfortable going in. Well, hopefully that converts. A lot of them won't.
Okay. Thank you. That's I think that's a good point, because definitely I think this is something I haven't tried. It's something I would need to try right now and see the results of it. For presentations, definitely this is something I need to do.
Okay, but Ahmed, because you have a technical background as well, and so on, and many of the other people who are in the CTO position and so on, it's much easier to build the product, and it's much more area of comfort, our comfort zone, and so on. Asking for introductions is not, but at the end, Ahmed, you need to grow your business. وما في استحى. There's no. I'm just using a few terms in Arabic. I just want to make a point. ما في استحى, Ahmed. Just say, look, I want to meet this person in that company. Who do you know there? They'll say, I don't know that department, but I know somebody in another department, in marketing, although you want them in tech or whatever. They'll introduce you. One step at a time, one step at a time.
Yeah.
And be patient, because this takes, from high introduction to closing the sale or getting an answer is 6 months. That's B2B sales.
Okay.
That needs patience.
Yeah, I agree with you. This is definitely the way, because mainly for CTO or for technical people, we are known as to be like introvert people who sit behind the device. But I agree with you. It's not about building the solution. For me, it's about getting at least the first interest in this, to go further with the development, to go further with building the technology. It's not about the technology. It's more about the business, the need for this.
Ahmed, I consider myself very comfortable speaking publicly. I'm on TV once a week. I do a lot of these talks like we're doing today. And there are many scenarios to me where do I really want to talk to that person in that way? Or do I ask that person for the introduction or not? I think about it twice and so on. So it's very normal to have that. And what I find is you ask, it's a no. Instead of it being on my mind for 3 months, do I ask Dr. any introduction or not? Maybe she doesn't like me. Maybe she might not want to introduce her. Maybe, can I handle her no? Why would I live with it for 3 months? I'll ask her. If she says no or ignores my email, it's off my list. One thing off my list, I move on to somebody else.
Okay.
Okay. Who else? Rana, we had a...
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
I had a question. Thank you, Ayman, for a very dynamic session, if I may say. Actually, my question is compounded for the B2B. You mentioned that about the profiles that we build in B2B and what are the things that we need to really take care of on our profiles. Would you recommend certain platforms for certain type of businesses? For example, would you recommend presence on all the platforms? Or for example, if I'm in healthcare, I would be present in LinkedIn versus being on Instagram. My second question, based on the first question, is would you recommend posting on personal profiles things related to the company? Like on your Facebook, would you post things related to your own company?
Thank you, Rana, for that question.
And where do you draw the line? Well, because I'm really confused about that. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so let me address the simpler one and so on. So when we're looking at, because we're in B2B, LinkedIn is a common platform because it's very powerful. They've been adding so many things to it and so on. And this is why I pointed out small things like a cover and things like this and so on, because I see many important people and profiles, and they don't look at them because they haven't touched the profile in a year or two and things haven't added new. So LinkedIn is a definite yes on this. And what I like about LinkedIn now is when you post something on LinkedIn, many people see it. Today, it's a very good content distribution channel. So if you post an article or a video or so on, this what you post and do, many people will see it without you even advertising. So organically, on the other platforms, Instagram and Facebook and so on, you have to pay. It used to be great organically in 2012. Now it's not. So LinkedIn now has that opportunity. And there's also another opportunity, but it's going to be very difficult for the audience because it has video and so on. TikTok, it's no longer for your cousin and niece. We'll talk in 2 years when a lot of you are on TikTok, but from today you're like, Ayman, this is for my cousin to play with. She's 12 and that same thing, just to tell you, I started out doing a lot of social media advisory back in 2010. I did an introduction. Ahmed, somebody I know, he introduced me to his uncle who runs a huge insurance company. That's how I got in. I sat with him. Right, and I was talking to him and so on, and I can see the frown and so on. I can see, he's just humoring me because of the introduction from his nephew. And then at some point, I was like, look, I packed up. I said, look, obviously my session with you, I started telling them about what insurance companies should do with YouTube and Facebook and their opportunity, what they can do, and so on. I said, look, obviously there's a gap there, and what I'm telling you is not of interest to you, but help me not make the same mistake I did with you with somebody else. Tell me. What was my big miss? Because obviously, there's no interest. Hey, man, you're talking about Facebook and YouTube. That's the stuff my kids play with. We're a huge insurance company. What are you talking about this? I was like, oh, okay. So that's how the reaction I got from you is what I got in 2010 on this. TikTok will come to that. But the reason I point out TikTok is if you post a video now on TikTok, a couple of thousand people are going to see it. If you do it well, a lot of people will see it because today it's still early. And there's a lot of need for content, especially in the Middle East. So the content will reach the same way Facebook was like this in early days. So LinkedIn primarily and TikTok, at least if you want to just consume some content, it's also very fun. Your first step, not create business content, just consume some content on it on a personal level. Now, for your question about do I put work things on my personal profile? Rana, the days of personal profiles on social are done. Initially, we all had our friends and we post pictures of what we're doing and things like this and so on. And all of us were much younger and we had much nicer social lives, much busier social lives and so on. Let's be realistic. As we got older, we had more responsibilities and so on. My social feed was the new places to go out to, new places to see, this independent movie that you can only find here. That was my social content for a long time. All right, things are different. So now, at the end of the talk, I say, look, follow me on Instagram. But if you're looking for social things, I'm not that guy. If you want to look for business advice and things like this and tactics, I can help. So it's partially our lifestyle has changed, and partially the expectation of social networks is much different than before. Because Rana, I'm talking to you today. You're Dr. Rana. So I said Rana. Dr. said no, it's Dr. Rana. So yes, there's Dr. Rana and there's Rana. All right, and there's Rana, the partner. There's Rana, the mom. There's Rana, the sister or brother. We are that mix, all right? So our social will need to reflect this, minus a couple of things that you're not comfortable with. Drawing the line is a couple of things you're not comfortable with. For example, you don't like putting pictures of kids or family or whatever, or so you exclude some of those. So you do all of it without some of it. Personally, I post a lot of things on social. Some of it has to do with my kids. Some of it because I haven't taken a personal decision a lot about how much to put them online. So for now, I hit the snooze button. I put little about them. The rest is work stuff. But I put personal interests, music I listen to, things I do, and so on. And basically things in Arabic. ولو أيمن ما أنت مدير شركة بتحط هيك أغراض ومدري شو. I get a bunch of this stuff. Sometimes I listen to this music. Okay. It's okay. I go to these types of places and so on. So so what I would do, Rana, I would start to put things that you're comfortable putting. And you should know that a lot of people will not like what you post. They don't like what we wear, what our hair is, and they won't tell you. They tell you behind your back, right? So it's all in the back channels. Yes, Dr. I see you laughing because many times Ayman شو محلة. Behind Ayman, you look great. You look much better. Behind the scenes, like, did you see Ayman? He's gained some weight, or does he have a mirror at home? But for me, it's typical. So that applies on social, on work, and everything. So that's the do what you're comfortable doing, minus the lines that you're not comfortable sharing about, and so on. So I have a few customers, for example, I know they're very sensitive about what I say about them, about any mention on them. So I don't mention them at all. I don't show any of their work. That part I don't talk about. I don't talk about any of my customers. I talk about work I do for them, but not without mentioning them and so on. So those are things I've learned, that just to keep it nice and clean, and so on. So I hope that answers your question. What other questions do we have?
Muhammad Susan next, please.
Yeah, Ayman, thank you for this is very thoroughly, and it's nice to hear, and I like your humor and that points. I need to ask you, so after all this, what you have shown us, so what is the best then to advertise my hotels?
Yes, the consumer side. I'm going to jump into that just quickly onto this, because I know Dr. Aline has a timesheet to keep. For B2C, the reason what I want to point out with this is that it's different in a sense where the channels Instagram and Facebook and Google and TikTok are very important for you. This is one. But the problem, Hamad, in B2C is you have to spend money outside your company on ads. And ads, I'm not talking about 1,000 dirhams or 2,000 dirhams. It has to be significant budgets that you have to spend. So, but before you do any of this, it's very important that you do the tracking to look at measuring the result of the money that's coming in. So in your case, it's a funnel. This is not your funnel because you're not building an app. In your case, your funnel is on the hotels. I would look at multiple things. I would look at leads for events that the hotel hosts. So that means something I'm measuring. So how many people do I need to reach? So I need to show my ad to 12,000 people. From those 12,000 people, 1,000 click to check that page about the event. From those 1,000 people, 10 people say they're attending. And from those 10 who attend, I know that 2 will actually attend. I know that becomes my number. So this way, I know that when I spend 1,500 dirhams just to promote that specific event to reach, I know that my numbers is 2,000 down to 2. I know that every 1,200 dirhams equals 2 physical people who paid or attended the event. Once you have those numbers, you can maneuver. Otherwise, what you will do is what many businesses do, a couple of thousand dirhams here, a couple of thousand dirhams there, and so on. And then they're not sure what's working, what's not. And we're spending money. We want to spend more, but we don't know where. We don't know what's working the most for us, and so on. So I think that is one area. Just measuring as much as possible. If you can measure what you can from a results perspective. So it would be leads who are interested in an event, in events. Second would be leads for example, I'm assuming you attract a lot from other Emirates for staycations and things like this. I'm assuming a lot of that, you do a lot of that. Very good. One easy way to do this, Muhammad, is instead of running an ad that takes them straight to the website, I would run an ad with a call to action, which is WhatsApp, which it looks like this, and they're not expensive. What happens here is this: it's an ad about Ayla hotels, image and so on, and you'd say in it, you know, stay. So now there's a long holiday next week. You'd say Eid holiday staycation or whatever. So very clearly messaging here and so on with a WhatsApp message. The objective of this is to get them to talk to you. They're going to ask, how can I book? What's your cancellation policy if I'm not sure? Do you accept this type of payment? What if my son doesn't end up coming with me? Do I end up paying for this? What if we're a group of 3 families? Do you give us a discount? And so on and so forth. So this here, you're answering, because not a lot of people who see this are ready to go straight to give you a credit card and buy, but they're kind of interested. So instead of losing those, you have them. So when they WhatsApp you, you have their phone number, you have what they're interested in, and you can then build that with them to close the sale on this one 4 days before the holiday. If you don't have enough bookings and you have interest, say, look, we're running actually a special promotion to those who WhatsApp you. We are giving this at an extra 7% off, or whatever it is, or we're bundling in dinner and so on and so forth. This way, you don't have to go and chase on the internet. They've already come to you via that WhatsApp ad a few weeks ago. This can help here, but you have to be ready because it's not a heavy ad. You're not taking the website to book. You'll get some of the crazies that are on the internet who message you and they ask about something completely different. I get that all the time. You know, they WhatsApp you for something completely else. Although this is very clear about it's a hotel, it's very clear it's an offer, it's very clear about this, and they ask you about something completely else, and they're confused and about why you're having that discussion here, or they're asking. So you have a portion of invalid leads. And it's not gold. All of them are gold, but some of them are. So that this is definitely a tactic that can help. Another one that can help for you as well is you can run an ad campaign for it's a click to call. It's a call now ad campaign. So what they do here is, what I like about this is you run an ad campaign, but your infrastructure is the same. You have the same call center or the same reception or so on. So it's a call now. So this way you can run so it's a benefit from, you know, looking for something to do this Eid, this extended Eid holiday. Join us at the Al-Ain for whatever, call now. So they click, it's a click to call. They call and it shows up on, you know, so they're calling your business. So these are 2 simple tactics that don't take a lot of money. So the ads are reasonably priced, and the infrastructure you have is not much. So you already take calls today. So this is adding on top of it. The WhatsApp, if you don't have somebody that does with WhatsApp, it's a campaign that you run for a short period of time. So you need somebody to manage the WhatsApp during that time. So so those are tactics that I think can definitely help. And I suggest you do some measurement early on to make sure that I want to measure stuff. Okay, I spent 2,000 dirhams. How many WhatsApp messages did I get? I might have gotten 300. From those 300, how many are serious? Let's say 30 are serious. From those 30, I converted 6. So I know that 2,000 dirhams an ad will get me 30 serious people with 6 potential sales. Therefore, next Eid, you know what? It's not a big holiday. I'm going to spend 1,000 dirhams only. Therefore, 1,000 dirhams is very likely down to 30 people, it's 10 people interested and 2. Okay, Muhammad?
Thank you so much. Oh, beautiful. Thank you.
Dr. Aline, back to you.
Yeah. First of all, I just want to clarify something. I did not correct you, Dr. Rana, but out of respect, we call each other by title in meetings. Otherwise, I prefer that you call me Aline. Now, the comment that I had is to confirm what you're saying. We have done it at Stokos, and we've marketed, we've posted, people showed interest, but did not end up being confirmed participants or clients, if I want to generalize. So this is to confirm what you have said and reassure Muhammad. So what we did for that specific event or that specific campaign, we did not gain as many clients as we were aiming for but we had them in the database, as you've mentioned, either by WhatsApp or direct message, whatever tab we've used at the time. When we had other events, future events, we reached out directly to them by name. We know them, we've emailed them, push marketed, offered them, and we've offered them on top of that, because you are already known to Stokos, we're going to offer you, let's say, a 5% discount, a 10%, whatever percentage discount it was. So they were given that extra attention, like, as in, we know you and this is why we're inviting you. And we gained more clients from that. And throughout the years, those participants became more regular, more loyal, and they attend most of our events, because then we built that partnership / relationship with them, and we know when to approach them for what events, because we know if we approach them for those events, this is what they will be looking for, rather than just throwing all events on everybody and loading everybody with emails. So that was my comment to confirm that what you have just mentioned has been tried by us, and from experience, yeah, I'm concurring. Now, I do have a question for you, and that's from me personally. In your opinion, is forming partnerships with what people would call probably competition, we consider joining forces. So is forming those partnerships to join forces a good approach to develop your business?
That depends on the character of the partner or competitor and so on. That depends totally on the character. I think that's the biggest element. Because even with customers, I was having a discussion earlier today, and I was curious, saying, look, I could have had a bigger business on many occasions where it didn't feel right, because a lot of what I do is advisory work. And if I feel the other party, there's either a character mismatch, or they want to hire my team to do the work, but they're not very serious about doing that change. So I feel there's something off there. And many times in the past, I've said yes to a business like this, and it never worked out. Right? It was always either a toxic relationship or doesn't work well, and so on. So I've learned to read those signs early on. This is why the character trait, I think, of that competitor / partner would play a role. So yes, I would look more into character. And then also what I'm thinking as well, Dr. Aline, that the market is big and there are a lot of customers and so on. So I think we can do a lot more, a little bit far away from more complex situations that require EQ and tactics and thinking and just,
Thank you. Very good advice. Now, I just want to call on to participants, if you please have any comment or question.
I know we're over time, so if you have questions, let me know so that we could address it.
I just want to read the note. I'm sure everybody got it, but thank you, Ian, for that. Ian said, I did not realize how good this could be. Fantastic. So yeah, thank you for attending, Ian, and a bigger thank you for your comment. So Zena has raised her hand. If you can kindly unmute.
Yeah, hello. Good evening to everyone. I know we're over time. I'm just going to have a very quick question. Number one, thank you for the very informative and simple way of doing everything. That's the special thing, I think. The second thing, and my question is, when a person has different jobs, so nowadays we try to do like different things, what we say a side job or an extra income job. How much do you recommend that when it comes to wanting to focus on a certain thing and at the same time doing another thing? So do they collide with each other, support each other, or again, it depends on the person and how he or she manages?
I would differentiate, Zena, between doing this for the money or doing this because part of you likes it and there's potential money in it. So that's the difference. That's two different parts I have there, because there's a difference between I have a 9 to 5 job and I take a 5 to 9 p.m. job because I need that I want that extra money. So that 5 to 9 is not something I'm interested in caring about. It's just something for me now to get through a certain period and so on. And I'm dropping it as soon as my 9 to 5 adjusts. So that's a category of work. The other category of work is Zaina is interested in many topics. Her day thing may or may not fulfill that. And we're looking at other things that can fulfill that interest and potentially turn into a revenue stream, a different type of job, a collaboration, whatever it is here. So I would scratch those itches, right? So for me, it's an itch. For me, that's what I feel mine are. I would scratch those itches, and I'd look into those. Now, when it comes to the time management part, that becomes a little bit trickier, especially if we have non-career related, relationships and kids and social obligations and things like this. That adds a bit of pressure on this. But what I found works for me is I merge things together. So for example, I've been trying to do more video content. And my kids are still young and they want more time with me. So I found that, during the week, I'm unable to do enough video content that I want because, busy days and so on. I thought weekend I can do. So if I want to do, I did a couple of times. It takes me a lot of time. And then that's time away from, obviously, family and personal rest. So what I've experimented with and worked for me is I've involved them with me in this. Mm-hmm. So technically, I'm recording a video and partially I'm with them. And at this young age, it works. So I asked them to help me set up the camera. I asked them, am I in the frame or not? I asked them to do things like this and this. So that for me is a small trick I use that helps me do both the personal itch I want to do and juggle the rest of the things that many of us are juggling every day. So that also I'm just suggesting this as for you to think of shortcuts of what you can mix. It might not work at the job side, but on the personal side. So look for tricks like this.
Thank you. That's the perfect answer I wanted. So yeah, so I'm into the education sector and definitely Stockholm. So having 2 kids, they're basically the cameraman, as you said, and the producer and the actors. So it is working very well for me. Thank you. And that's how I started. So thank you for the answer.
Thanks.
I like your example, Ayman, because I thought I'm weird doing it. So we as a family, my husband and I have twin girls that turn 8 in 2 weeks' time. They turn 8 in 2 weeks' time. So of course, working with the golf, my sessions are always evening time, which is time with the girls and the family. So when I connect, they open without a camera from a different room, different device, and they watch mommy. So they're with mommy, but they're on the mute side, no video side, but they're with me at the same time. And it worked because then they don't feel that they haven't seen mommy for a long time in the evening. So there's someone else in the world who does it. And I like that.
We all have to find things that we can help to do, and we can do this because they're that age. If they're older and I ask them to do this, they're gonna.
That's different. Absolutely fine. Absolutely true. Any more questions or comments? If not, if I can invite.
I was asking, would you recommend to show our faces in a video to help customers get convinced? Majida, of course, the video of a face definitely helps, but you have to be comfortable doing it, right? So don't do it if you're not comfortable doing it. Even me, for a long time, when the Instagram stories became popular, so Snapchat first and then Instagram, I did not feel very comfortable doing this because I felt it was very self-focused. I did not feel comfortable doing this. And I remember having a discussion with a friend of mine saying, look, the same way I told you I'm experimenting with this personal CRM thing, I told him, look, I'm experimenting with this, but I'm not comfortable doing this and so on. And I remember catching up with him 6 months later, and he was telling me very casually, he's like, Ayman, I'm following up with you on Instagram, and I can see you've solved that front-facing component. I was like, what are you talking about? And then I completely forgot that was an issue for me, and I experimented and it worked out. And he reminded me that I had that issue first. So what I'm saying is there are two ways to do this, Majida. Try on things that you're comfortable with, all right? And then see with time if this works for you or not. Or you can do it completely voiceover based, but you need a little bit of help here, somebody to help you edit and do a few things and so on top. So it could be complete. It could be completely that. So you do a voiceover recording, and somebody would add image and text and things like this and so on. So it adds a little bit more work for you, but just yeah.
Okay, are you able to read the comments? Would you like me to read them out loud? Lots of thank yous and great session, useful tips, very informative session. So I want to join my voice to everybody's voice. It was such a dynamic, lively, spirit-free session that everybody seems to have enjoyed. Really, everybody's confirming what I'm saying. Big thank you, because we know how tight your schedule is, and you still gave the time to meet with everybody and make sure to learn everybody's background and their interest, and then customize your session. And that takes a lot of skill. And we thank you very much. Beautiful session. If you would like to say, just give a final probably advice to everybody, and we thank you for staying extra time with us as well.
Thank you, Dr. Aline, Dr. Rana, and Zena for hosting me, and for everybody for being open about their questions and what they're looking for. From a closing advice perspective, I just want to give you comfort that we're all winging it. We're all doing things not necessarily correctly or accurately, and we all think that people pay more attention to us on social than they actually do. And people are busy, and there are much more interesting things for them to be busier with. We're competing with food and entertainment and things like this. So our work part is not that. It won't take a lot of that. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. So if you can create a little bit more content, whether writing or video or so, whatever is comfortable for you, that will be an area for help. And I'm active on Instagram. I share a lot of information on Instagram, or connect with me on LinkedIn or Twitter, whatever is comfortable for you. I share a lot of content there related to things like you saw today. And if you have any questions that I might not have addressed, or you're not comfortable talking about them publicly, feel free to DM me, to message me, and I'll address this. And thank you again, Dr. Aline, and it was a pleasure being part of your group and working with the team.
Well, it was a wonderful session. Once again, thank you. If Ayman, you're happy, when we send the certificates of attendance to participants, we can include your contacts, as in if you prefer a specific contact.
No,
yeah, like your email or something, we can include that.
My mobile WhatsApp. Yeah.
Awesome, we'll do that.